Hello again.
Hi there.
Welcome into the Thursday edition of Exiles TV, and we're so happy to have you with us once again.
It's Thursday?
Yeah?
I got an appointment.
Okay. See ya. Bill's out. Bill is out. We're going to discuss a lot of things today. A lot of them are legal matters or matters of legal representation, also prosecution, crime and punishment. With us in our first hour is a good friend of ours, a friend of the program, attorney at law Franz Borghardt, who is a criminal defense attorney in Louisiana. He basically operates out of the Baton Rouge area, but I think Franz would go wherever the case may be. Also in our second hour, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the recent crimes and things that the East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney is able to discuss. Hiller Moore will be our guest in hour two.
Before we get to anything else, I'm sure you know about this. The panhandler who was shot in the parking lot of the shopping center that houses Trader Joe's, Danny Buckley. There has been an arrest made of a 24-year-old. His name is Jace Boyd. He is bonded out of jail. Now, what struck me on this particular instance is the absolute drama on the story as originally posted by WBRZ Channel 2. Mm-hmm. Now, from the time I told you about it a half an hour ago to now, they have changed the wording that so incensed me. Here is how it is worded now. WBRZ learned early Thursday that 24-year-old Jace Boyd, who was accused of gunning down and killing a middle-aged black man in the parking lot of Trader Joe's on August 22nd, has posted $300,000 in bail. The story was originally, and I mean they just changed this, it was written this way. WBRZ learned early Thursday that 24-year-old Jace Boyd, accused of gunning down and killing an elderly black man in the parking lot of Trader Joe's. Now, they left the gunning down. The man was shot one time. They're trying to be dramatic in the telling of this story and then calling him elderly as if that somehow makes it worse. And I guess somebody said, you know what, 61 is not elderly by anybody's definition.
I'd like to think not.
Well, you can't get elderly services.
That's my next birthday.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't get elderly services.
Yeah, I can't get anything that's for the elderly at 61, so yeah.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, they, in the opening, where they accuse him of gunning down an elderly black man, they don't mention who was panhandling or aggressively panhandling. That is buried 3 further paragraphs down.
There's also, I just noticed this as I opened it up and was reading it myself. Why is black capitalized all of a sudden?
They just made that change. Yeah.
But if they mention that the man that's arrested for shooting Danny Buckley mm-hmm. is white, that won't be capital. White won't be capital W. What? And you know, here's my thing. If color doesn't matter, as we're told so often, why then do they include it?
Well, I actually think on this time, in this case, I'm going to go with the grammarians and the custodians of the English language on this one, mm-hmm. because black, as referring to a human being, mm-hmm. is a proper noun, and therefore it should be capitalized.
Okay, what about white?
It should be capitalized too.
I mean, I realize that that's petty. That's small potatoes. But it's the kind of stuff I notice from the news media of late.
But, you know, again, you don't need the hyperbole on this. The gunning down. I mean...
Gunning down.
Close your eyes.
He didn't empty a clip in the guy, did he?
No. He one shot. But, I mean, and he shouldn't have shot him, in my opinion, but that's up to the court to decide.
He didn't need to. He certainly didn't need to. 25-year-old man should be able to physically intimidate a 61-year-old panhandler into backing off.
Yeah. Now, but here's the thing. Close your eyes, everybody. And I want you to picture what gunning down looks like, means, what it sounds like. One shot is not gunning down. And again, in the original story, gunning down an elderly black man.
Do you know what I think of?
And omitting why the elderly black man was there. That's just sensationalizing, and I don't know why.
Because that's what they do. Especially, you're looking at the representation story on their website. What is their website all about? They want the clicks. They want the clicks.
But they're going to get
And
the
that's why
clicks anyway.
They sensationalize the story because they want you to see the headline. They want you to click and read
But
the
the
story.
headline is not sensational. So they
How
got
about
the
the
click
original headline?
already.
Wasn't gunned down in the original headline?
No. The
See,
headline is the same.
when I think of gunning down, I think you may have even emptied your gun, but you were maybe even still firing when they were laying prone on the parking lot.
Gunning down, generally speaking, implies a fusillade of bullets, okay? Now, the facts of the case and the law are going to be determined in the court. But I also wonder if I'm a defense attorney and I saw this original story, would I call it prejudicial to my client getting a fair trial? I mean, they have changed it. Obviously, someone called that to their attention, that he is not elderly. They left the gunning down, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, come on, tighten it up a little bit. The facts are the facts. You don't need to embellish. You don't need to use a lot of adjectives. The man accused of killing the other man has bonded out. That's what your headline says, and that's pretty much the whole damn story.
Yep. And we don't really need you to try to lead us to believe one way or the other about the facts of the story. Give us the facts. We'll make up our own minds. Thank you.
Well, and again, it seems to me that they're doing some race baiting with this.
You think?
You
think? No.
He shot a middle-aged
They wouldn't
panhandler.
do that.
Does it have to be he was a middle-aged black panhandler?
If it didn't say the race of either man, you presume it's black on black crime. That's how things go in this city, and probably a lot of other cities as well, as far as the media is concerned. If race is not mentioned at all, it's probably black on black crime.
But oh my goodness, I mean,
If the race of the assailant is not mentioned, it's probably black on white crime.
You can do better than this. You really don't need that. And then, I was looking for a similar story on the other television stations. It was not written in that sense. It was just the facts. However, as is often the case, the grammar was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And we got time. We got time for this.
Well, we should be coming back from commercial.
Marty can fix it. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, this is from one of my favorite people who write, Mykal Vincent at Channel 9.
Don't pick on the guy because of the way his name's spelled. He didn't give himself that name.
Well, but see, that indicates the gene pool that he was working with. Okay?
Yeah, but you're picking on his mom and dad, basically.
I don't like them either. Now,
Wow.
anybody who gives a kid a name like that, I don't like them. They're harming him. Now, 25-year-old has been arrested for raping a minor. He met her on social media. Now, here's the thing. Here's where it goes off the rails and it continues. I'm just going to give you one sentence. According to arrest reports, Jonathan Reed Dejan, age 25, allegedly paid for a driver to pick up himself and a 12-year-old he met on social media and bring her to his house where they had sex.
Pick up himself?
Pick up himself.
Pick he and
Yeah, well,
the girl.
this guy never gets that right. This is the guy who was famous for the deputy fired their gun, and I was so appalled that the sheriff's department only has one gun.
That was funny.
Moron.
I remember that. That was funny.
Anyway, we're going to take a break now. Going to grab my thesaurus and swear to tell the truth on it. I'll be back.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down.
the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello, we're back. It's Exiles TV, and thanks so much for being with us. Bill Perfida on yonder side, and I'm Kevin Gallagher. And joining us in center chair is our good friend Franz N. Borghardt Jr., attorney at law. How are you?
Gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
Good to
Oh,
see
we're
you.
well. We're well.
You don't need to lean in. It'll pick you up.
Bang
just
on
fine.
that mic. Hammer
It has a little bit of oomph to it.
Yeah,
I like it.
It'll pick you up just fine.
It's
Always a pleasure hanging out with you guys, talking law, talking criminal justice.
Mm-hmm.
So
you were listening when I did the read through on the Channel 2, overly, in my opinion, dramatizing the story and then retracting it within an hour. You're in court with people who are accused sometimes of minor things, sometimes of heinous things, but many of them see a lot of news coverage. Do you think it really influences juries, the kind of media coverage you get?
in as much as the jury pool may or may not read or look at stuff like the news, yes. I think the bias you guys were talking about earlier is subtle, but still prevalent.
Thank you.
I'll say that again. Subtle, but prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
By that I mean, and look, you guys touched on it. You can report something without taking a side.
You should report something without
Well,
taking a side.
that is, and look, I was born in '79, and so most of my internet news watching as an attorney started around 2006, 2007. So I don't know if this is a new thing where news outlets are making themselves part of the stories by doing commentary, or is this how it always was? I am troubled because what this does do is it creates a difficult scenario of getting a fair jury.
It actually used to be a lot worse. In the early 80s, there were news reporters, particularly television reporters, that were thrilled if they could get themselves arrested at the scene of a crime or a big event, the big train
Inject themselves
derailment.
into the story.
And then they put a promo, we are doing our job for you. It is dialed it back. But what I have noticed is the writing, which is part of the reporting, sometimes gets into some real copious use of adjectives that don't need to be there. And that's intentional.
It's almost as if they don't want you to read the actual article, because after the sensational headline, which may or may not be grammatically sound, as Bill will point out, why would you read the article?
Yep.
What is left in the article after, poor elderly human being deprived of? I mean, it's
Gunned down.
Gunned down.
I'm seeing a guy in a fedora with a crooked nose and a Tommy gun.
So I I am, as we discussed off air, I'm limited on my discussion ability on that case, but I will tell you, a great example is one of the news outlets used the phrase in that case, reloaded. Well, that actually is not factually accurate.
No, he rechambered after a misfire.
He cleared.
Yeah.
And the problem is someone sees reloaded and they think what?
Yeah.
Took the time to take a magazine out, put a magazine in.
They're envisioning
put a
clearing a
round in the chamber.
magazine of maybe 12, 15 rounds, depending on what kind of firearm. No, he cleared a round. And in fact, the disingenuous nature of the reporting doesn't account for, well, if you know something about firearms, you can clear a round out pretty quickly.
Well, and again,
Yeah.
a lot of these snowflake reporters are going, ooh, gun. They don't even know what they're reporting on. You know, that's the problem. You need to. I used to have this happen to me all the time with aircraft and aircraft incidents. And I'd have reporters that would, say, well, the airplane was a Cosmopolitan Cherry XF-145 with 111 engines. It's like, I sent out an aircraft recognition chart for these morons, so they would at least get into the ballpark. But when you have this and it's out there, it's very hard to take it back. Now, I will give Channel 2 kudos for pulling back the, elderly man, but they still left the gun down in.
So I worry sometimes, and I mentioned this off air with you guys. I do legal commentary on a regular basis, and I worry sometimes that I don't want to be part of the problem. I can't talk about cases I'm working on, let me rephrase that. I can talk about cases I'm working on, but I'm limited. Mm-hmm. But in doing commentary on other cases, which is kind of what the news does, I take great pains to be intellectually honest. I may disagree with certain political figures, I may disagree with certain decisions, but I try to be intellectually honest. And when I disagree, I may even say this could have gone one way or another way, but I think it should have gone this way, but it wasn't the wrong decision. I just feel like sometimes the media really does make the lives of the men and women working in the criminal justice system more problematic and difficult.
Yeah, well, what's the main reason that a defense attorney may request a change of venue
Right.
for his client? Because the media has already pronounced the guy guilty.
Well, or more to the point, let's say I don't have a scenario where I have enough to change venue, but I have to do jury selection based on media, which takes longer for jury selection, which inconveniences John and Susie Q taxpayer because they're in jury selection longer. A thing that they don't want to be in anyway. So it's just, to me, it's great clickbait, but it doesn't really serve. It's not transparency. It doesn't better society.
I don't want this to be taken wrong. I am not glad that Danny Buckley is dead. I am not glad that the young man, what's his name, Jace, I've forgotten his last name, but I'm not glad that the man shot him. But can we all agree that Danny Buckley was committing a crime? It's illegal to panhandle people in this city. You're not supposed to walk up and try and talk people out of their money. You're not supposed to hang out at the foot of the...
You need to be careful because the way the media self-perpetuates its fuel these days is if you're not for us, you're against us. And by pointing out objective facts, you're against us. Well, and the media will then... I don't want you canceled, Kevin. I like Kevin. I don't want you canceled.
Cancel culture. What are you going to do?
But, here's the thing. When I first got into broadcast media, everybody who came in on the news side of it, if they didn't exhibit this, they were told this in some very explicit terms sometimes. It is not your job to give up. Your opinion does not matter unless I task you with doing an opinion piece. You are to come in here and leave all of your personal baggage and all of your suppositions behind and give us the who, what, where, when, and how, and then at the end of that, what's next if this story is going to advance. But I see a lot of these younger reporters, and you can see they're just so agendized, and they're fired up by the demonstrations and things like that, and they bring that to the reporting of the story. The anchors now at the network level, many of them who are people of color, bring that to the reporting of the story. If I hear Gayle King say, I just think that's horrible, that's a disgrace, nobody sitting at an anchor desk should ever say anything like that.
No, see, Bill, your silence, Bill, is an acquiescence.
Silence is violence.
Your silence is guys.
If you won't put your fist in the air, then you're against us.
I can put something in the air, it won't be a fist.
I'm reminded of a movie called Gladiator, where it wasn't sufficient that he won in the ring; he had to be entertaining.
Yeah, are you not entertained?
I feel like that's what I feel the pandering that the media does. And again, I struggle with this as someone who works with media to do legal commentary. I feel like the pandering, though, is like someone in an arena screaming, "Are you not entertained?" You know.
The thing is, nobody hauls them up short on it, and in some of the national media, they actually love it, depending on which side of whatever equation you're on. But we all lose something here.
Yeah.
The public is deprived of factual information that they can see without picking through all the adjectives and suppositions.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a criminal case, the defendant is deprived of the presumption of innocence and a fair and impartial jury.
Mm-hmm.
The people at home that rely on news and information are deprived of the ability to feel that they've gotten something that is relevant in unvarnished form. We all lose a little something with this.
We need to jump in and take care of a little business. We got a commercial break. We're going to take care of that and more with Franz Borchardt coming up next on Exiles TV.
I swear to God.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us on this Thursday morning. A reminder, if you've got some friends that you want to see this, and you should. You really should.
It's important viewing.
It's very... Your friends will thank you. You will be hailed as a hero or a heroine or a fentanyl if you remind them that they can see this show in its entirety at 10 o'clock tonight. So please, get up off your butt, make a phone call, tell them, hey, watch this thing.
There's also the on-demand option. After a few hours after the program is over every day, we get it posted up onto YouTube. And so if you go to the Pelican Broadcasting page on YouTube, you can view these programs on demand, at your leisure.
On demand.
At your leisure.
Yes, as you wish. We are continuing our conversation with Attorney Franz Borchardt, and we're talking about media and how that can affect the legal process. And Kevin brought up a very good point right as we went to the break. So I'm going to toss it back to you.
Well, I just felt the urge to relate that, lest we think that all local news outlets or all news outlets in particular. Now, I'm going to tell you from my own 7.5 years experience as a news reporter in this state, I can tell you just about all the news reporters I met, whether they were print reporters, TV reporters, or fellow radio reporters, for some reason, they're all liberal Democrat ideologues. I don't know why that is, but from my perspective, I knew very few other conservative news
because they couldn't make it into law school.
And, it is what it is, but we see that bias sometimes in the news. I worked for the Louisiana Radio Network, which strangely enough is right across the street here on Coursey Boulevard. It's run by a guy named Jim Engster. Those that know Jim Engster know I don't curse him for this. He's a left-wing ideologue. He's a Democrat, a loyal one. And you're allowed to do that in this country. That's fine. But when it came down to a case where one of the reporters, one of my contemporaries, had on more than one occasion slanted a story badly so as to do a hit piece on former Governor Bobby Jindal, a Republican, that reporter was terminated for bias by the left-wing ideologue for attacking the right-wing governor. So I think that there's still at least that one where you can count on getting an unbiased opinion. It's radio news. It has to be short form. They have to hit you in the head with it and give you just the facts, ma'am. They don't have the time or the indulgence to slant things.
Well, and I would agree with that.
So hooray for them.
When I used to listen to you, it was a straight news report. Mm-hmm. Jeff Palermo, straight news report. Don Molino, straight news report.
Yep. Great bunch of people over there.
And that is what we all want.
And compliments to Jim, because as the operator of that operation, he could easily go in there and influence his newsroom, but he does not.
It's not easy. It's not easy to swallow what you think is the proper angle or opinion and just lay it out there straight. It is not easy. There are people that I never tell anybody how I vote. I've never told anybody except 30 years later, I took the rap for being the only person on earth that voted for Jimmy Carter because, boy, 1 month after his inauguration, I was the only person.
I don't vote for him.
Yeah, I was the only person in this country that voted for him. I don't know how I won the Electoral College all by myself. But
kind of the same thing with the last election here for governor. Nobody wants to admit that they pushed a button for John Bell Edwards.
But I mean, I've had people come up to me more than once. Are you like a Republican? Are you like a Democrat? Are you liberal? Are you conservative? And they don't know, and I think that's great.
I think most people have figured out you're conservative. I've had people presume you are a registered Republican. I've made no secret of the fact I don't belong to a political party. But it's best if we don't. I think that you play it the right way. It's best if you don't wear your politics on your sleeve all the time.
You know what? It automatically it shuts off half the dialogue.
I'm a complicated fella.
Well, you don't. You don't wear your politics on your sleeve.
Well, to be candid, I am getting to that point in life. I have the luxury of seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak, particularly in the criminal justice system, and that can leave one disenchanted. And candidly, it leaves the idea of political parties sometimes unsavory. So I don't wear it on my sleeve because, candidly, both sides, in particular, both sides, the extremists on both sides, frankly, scare me. Extremists, and that's going back to the media. That's what we see on the media, right? We see the extremists. Moderate is not sexy, right?
Well, no,
moderate
Moderate's
is
boring.
It's boring.
The old adage of man bites dog is still true.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Well, and we unfortunately, because we can send images instantly anywhere, and that obviously makes that a lot easier to do. And I'm not saying it's not part of the story, it is. But I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but the late Ed Buggs was a friend of mine for many, many years. I'm the first person in the city to put a microphone in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ed was brilliant.
He used to get scary hyped up if there was a vicious murder story or a very gruesome car crash. And I was like, Ed, you really need to see somebody about that. I mean, he had a physical reaction to that quite frankly was a little bit off-putting.
But it spoke of his passion for his job also.
And it spoke of his passion to be there when the blood was still flowing. And there is a difference.
So
I think Ed was brilliant.
As someone in my position, and I know you're going to have Mr. Moore on later, who I have a great deal of respect for, I have to watch sometimes because I become desensitized to things because I've seen a lot of things, and so I don't sensationalize them in my mind. I mean, a brutal murder is a brutal murder, but it's not the same to me as it would be someone that has lived a life of sheltering.
But let's talk about the words, though. I mean, a murder's a murder.
Right. Right.
And then we have the hate crime. And it's like, do we have a statute on the books for a love crime? The thing is, if you shot this man, it doesn't matter that you hated him because he was gay. You still murdered him.
I think commentary really started picking up. If you remember the Beauregard-town murders?
Yeah.
Yes.
We viewed that as not just a murder, but what he did, in that case is resolved, but what he did to the mother, what he did to the little girl. And I'm not trying to show my bias by calling the victims mother and little girl, but I guess I am.
Well, they were.
Yeah. That was when I think I started noticing the way we frame things to make things seem a little bit sexier. And I'm using that word not out of disrespect to anybody in the system, but if it's sensational, it's not necessarily nutritious. It's delicious, but not necessarily nutritious.
My wife said something to me.
I like that.
Yeah, my wife said something to me. Kevin, maybe Mariana said something like this to you. But we go through these crimes, and they shock us many, many times. And then on day 2 of the reporting of the story, it's like she was a mother and a grandmother. And Karen said, so since we have no children, I'm not a mother, I'm not going to be a grandmother. Does that mean my death is any less terminal than this woman's?
A loving...
Is it somehow worse if it's a mother?
Karen is a loving wife.
She is.
A leader in the community.
She is.
A pioneer in many respects.
She is that.
So it would be something different.
But no, it wouldn't.
You don't think so?
When you hear of somebody that you know is childless, they say, she was, 51 years old.
She was a mother, a grandmother,
Yeah.
a wife, a cousin who came over all the time.
A bridge player. They try to load these packages with so much crap that's not relevant.
So playing the heartstrings like a guitar doesn't change facts.
Yeah.
No.
Calling something a hate crime, which, by the way, this is let's talk law for a second. Hate crime only serves as a sentencing enhancement and provides an additional element that the prosecutor has to prove that the crime was perpetrated based on, shocker, some kind of hate, discrimination.
Should it?
Well, the prosecutor gets the discretion. Prosecutor can say, I'm not trying this as a hate crime. I'm just going to charge this as a good old-fashioned armed robbery. Why complicate things? Armed robbery carries 10 to 99 years.
If I sit on the top of a building 75 yards away and they never hear the shot and I put one here, it's clean, he doesn't suffer, isn't that better than if I beat somebody to death and they die very slowly? Should I not have at the sentencing, well, he didn't suffer. Bill was a good shot. He took him out like that.
So I've always said, as a former prosecutor with very limited prosecutorial experience, I was only there for a year, tried a couple of cases, took some cases to the grand jury. A clean kill, which is what you're saying. I've always said that a conviction or plea that is a clean kill is preferred over a messy one. If you've ever gone hunting, and I'm not saying that prosecuting is like hunting, a clean kill, though, is why do we promote plea bargaining in our system so much? 95% of all cases plea bargain. Why? It is a confirmed conviction. There's no appeals. There's no post-conviction. There's no mincing words over, did the jury get it wrong or right? Someone stands in front of a court, in front of a judge, and says, I did this.
I did it. Yeah.
And there is and by the way, we generally, in most cases, give a little carrot to the individual that accepts responsibility.
Now, when you say a clean kill, we have a case where this gentleman in the parking lot was shot once, and that one shot took him down.
Right.
Would it make that big of a difference in the punishment phase if, and I'm in an imaginary scenario where the young man is found guilty, will it make that big a difference in the punishment phase if the young man fired one shot or 8?
It's all about framing. If you want to frame it, he killed this man, this elderly man, this elderly man or may have not been mentally, challenged or whatever. If you want to frame it with one shot was cold and brutal, or one shot plus the clearing the chamber, well then yeah, you can frame it that way and it sounds terrible. Either way, it's going to be framed in a way that makes him look bad. 8 shots. We know that when people are stressed and traumatic and defending themselves, they don't always just fire one time, right?
Well, you're actually not supposed to if you're firing self-defense.
Yeah, I tend to think if I had a gun with 6 bullets in it, I might empty it. I might if I thought my life was on the line.
So what did someone say? A prosecutor will say, Kevin fired the firearm maliciously 8 times. It wasn't enough that he hit him once. He had to fire, and now your framing dictates how it's reviewed. Now, what I would say is, and I cannot go specifically into this case, but what I would say is I would want to know everything, and when I represent somebody, I want to know everything I can know about them. Were they trained? Was their training the reason they only fired once? And does training mean a respect for the law? Does the fact that he or she has a concealed carry permit show a respect for the law and a respect for protocol and licensing and being what we can only frame as a good citizen? Or does having a concealed carry make you a gun nut?
We got to do one of these and take care of a little bit of business. We'll be right back after this commercial break with Exiles TV.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network
and Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hello, we are back. It's Exiles TV. Our guest, Franz Borghardt, attorney at law, former prosecutor. As he mentioned in the last break, he spent a year working in the DA's office, but has settled into he's a criminal defense attorney. Franz, the one thing we discussed with you yesterday on the Exiles podcast that I'd like to get into a little bit today is this case of Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yes, sir.
17-year-old man from Illinois crossed the border into, told his mother drove him to Kenosha.
I haven't had that confirmed yet, whether his mother drove him
Well,
or not,
it is unconfirmed, but we're told his mother drove him the 12 or 15 miles to the rioting scene in Kenosha.
From what I've read about her, I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Where he was a volunteer to defend a family friend's business. Yeah. I don't know yet who armed him with the AR-15 and live ammunition.
Did the business give consent or request his assistance?
The business has said we did not request the
because the business doesn't want to be burned down.
Yeah,
right. And so Kyle, and from the looks of things, the incident took place about a block down the street from the business in question.
He wasn't holding post, as they say, at the business.
So his defense attorney says he's got a strong case to get this kid off, but does he, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, a defense attorney would be a bad defense attorney if they went on the media and said
I've got a lousy
my
case.
client's really screwed. The DA's office has a great case. So
that would be a unique approach.
So I give because we've talked, Bill and I have talked with you, Kevin, before about intellectual honesty when it comes to lawyers saying things that they know are patently not true.
Right. Especially in a media statement.
Right. So I will say this. I have concerns about the facts. I have concerns about his ability to claim self-defense. I have questions about who started it, because that matters in the minds of jurors. We call it legally that the aggressor can't normally claim self-defense. Who's the aggressor? Is it the person that threw a brick or a bottle or something at him? Or is it him for bringing a gun to a bottle of brick fight? The mere presence of having a gun is not illicit, but he had a gun at 17, which is illicit. Mm-hmm. So some jurors may think, well, he was breaking the law the entire time. He cannot. So it's really, to me, the answer to your question is who's my jury? If you can pick the right jury, he may have a legitimate self-defense claim. I am worried about the social mindset of that community. It's my understanding in talking to you guys that is a economically hard place. So what kind of jurors do you get? And candidly, he's an outsider. Mm-hmm. He's an outsider coming into a community that's not his own. They're going to know that. So lastly, defending others and other people's businesses versus defending yourself. Do you get the same kind of thoughtful consideration from the juror? No. Juries don't like when you defend other people as much as when you defend yourself and your own.
What about how do juries feel about when you're defending someone who killed somebody who, by many accounts, is trash? I mean, two of the victims, all three of the victims, including the one who survived, had lengthy criminal records.
So, generally in self-defense cases, you don't get into that unless he knew they had those criminal records.
You're not allowed to do character assassination on the victim, or
it is, as I used the analogy yesterday with you fellas on your wonderful podcast. It's like a golf ball. You play it where it lies.
Yeah, he had no knowledge that these people.
he didn't know they were scumbags when he shot him. He just knew he was under attack.
If you know the person you're defending yourself against is a convicted felon and violent and has a violent history, well, then that's subjectively a part of the calculus. What the jury gets to consider is all the things that he might have known, if he can prove it, in that situation. So, for example, if somebody blindsides you with a punch to the back of the head, what do you know in that moment when you're trying to defend yourself?
Oh, someone hit me in the back of the head.
Not playing by the rules. There's uncertainty of what's going on, okay? There is always the question with jurors of a sense of fairness. Now, legally,
equivalent force.
Yeah. So we use in the legal system, that is reasonable use of force. I call it fairness because people have trouble understanding how you can bring a gun to a fist fight, not taking into consideration health concerns. Let's say you have health issues, and I'm not saying this guy has health issues, but a gun versus fist isn't necessarily patently unreasonable on its face, although most society thinks that.
They don't like it.
I would tend to think so. If somebody's all they want to do is beat on you and you shoot them, that seems
I'm going to use myself as an example
unfair.
Here. At my height, weight, and age, if somebody your height, weight, and age lands a couple on me, I'm not going to try to go toe-to-toe with you. If I can, I'm going to shoot you to make it stop.
So the smart criminal defense attorney, the guy that's really good at jury selection, Borkart Law Firm, is going to ask Kevin in jury selection in voir dire, Mr. Gallagher, can you think of a scenario where you would be okay with the amount of force used by a firearm or a person holding a firearm against someone who is unarmed? Can you think of a scenario where that would be reasonable force?
Yeah.
Okay. If Kevin can think of a scenario, then maybe he's going to get invited to the jury. But if he says, no, I always think fist versus gun's an unfair fight. Well, it is an unfair fight to a degree, but consider Mr. Perfida. Mr. Perfida is a short, stocky, little Italian guy. Not stocky. I mean, you're stocky.
I used to be stocky.
Spunky. That was
I'm
what I
just
wanted to
chubby.
do. Yeah. Franz versus Bill, depending on what training Bill has in fighting and me, that may not be a fair fight in and of itself.
Exactly.
What about and this, in my opinion, is fact because it's there plainly to see on videotape, which will almost certainly be evidence. 4 assailants.
Right.
One young man, 4 assailants. He shot 3.
So I want to know.
So when you got 4 people coming at you with
it was 2
whatever.
and 2, wasn't it? It wasn't 4 all at once. It was 2 and 2.
No,
because the other 2 guys that were shot were pursuing him after he shot the first 2.
One guy managed to get right up on him.
Yeah,
and managed to get away without a gunshot.
Can 4 people overcome a person with a firearm? Yes. I mean,
maybe.
I don't know how quickly an AR-15 fires.
Pretty damn quickly.
Pretty damn quickly.
But as the old saying goes, it's some of you are going to get shot. Who wants it first?
I think if I'm a juror, I want to know what led up. I want to know the complete timeline. One of the things we talked about yesterday is the social history of this kid. That may or may not be a relevant fact in the case in chief, but was he quote unquote indoctrinated? Is there a diminished capacity defense in that state?
This is what they're talking about. Is his family was a bunch of gun nuts.
Yeah. Well, and look, I got into firearms later in life. When I was with the DA's office, I learned firearms. I started possessing and owning firearms. I'm not a gun nut, but there are some people that say, because I have a concealed carry permit, we talked about this in the other segment, oh, you have a concealed carry permit, you're a gun nut.
There are people that would call Bill a gun nut because he owns more than one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we would probably say a gun nut is the person that has a small arsenal, and those people would probably say, no, not possessing or owning a whole bunch of guns is not. It's all about manner of use, right?
Well, it is about manner of use, and it's about attitude. See, I look at a firearm as a tool. I look at it no differently than a hammer. And by the way, while I have 9 firearms, I also have 3 different hammers. Am I a hammer nut?
You're a hammer nut.
A brief break. Back with more in just a moment on Exiles TV. So how are you getting back?
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
We thank you for being with us and welcome back to Exiles TV. We also very much appreciate Franz Borghardt being our guest this hour. Franz had to take off for a client meeting, but always good to get his insights. And he looks at things, you know, I find that sometimes attorneys just have a different perspective on things than you or me. Of course, they know the law. When you're looking at people reacting to these stories on social media, they react from the gut with not much consideration of the law. And the one thing I keep hearing about the Kyle Rittenhouse case, Bill, is that, like I said, these three guys were, you know, they had long criminal records, they were malcontents, they were rioters, looters, and burners, and who's going to miss them?
Well, I'll
tell you who's going to miss them, their parents.
You don't get to shoot people for that, unfortunately.
No, and of course Kyle didn't know.
He didn't know.
He could have been shooting a minister for all he knew.
Yeah.
All he knew is that, you know, I've got a loaded weapon and guys are setting on me, and what do you do?
And I'm 17 years old. I don't have the best judgment on earth.
Yeah.
You know, it had to be a frightening thing.
Here's my take on Kyle, and I'm not blaming Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm not pronouncing him guilty. I can only tell you what I would have done if I were in the same situation. If I had gone there to help my friends defend their store, the store is where I would have remained.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone anywhere. I would have stood outside the store or perhaps on the roof of the store.
Well, and again, there are people that are salting things into this story. You know, I always consider the first utterances to be the most reliable because people haven't had time to go over their story. Mm-hmm. He was recruited by members of this militia who said that they were going to be guarding this automotive store. Mm-hmm. They weren't Kyle Rittenhouse's friends in any of the original accounts. And I mean, seriously, you're an automobile, you sell cars and you repair them, you're a dealership, And this
Is it a dealership or a parts store?
dealership and parts store. A
Okay.
lot of them up there have a dual operation.
Got it.
But you don't have a 17-year-old friend that you're going to come and ask to defend you. Come on.
No, so he might very well have been recruited in the same fashion that rioters, looters, and burners are recruited.
Exactly. Now,
again, I'm not trying to paint him as guilty. I'm just saying that I really do think in a similar situation, armed with a semi-automatic weapon, I still would have laid back and waited until that weapon was necessary for self-defense. By advancing to where the crowd was, he put himself in the situation where the weapon was necessary for self-defense.
But I'm telling you, and I said this yesterday, this kid needs an attorney that's going to get him a psych evaluation. His upbringing, the people who lived near his mother said those kids, meaning all three of the Rittenhouse kids, quote unquote, never had a chance. And if mom actually drove him there, are you kidding me?
17, your options at 17, I had my own wheels when I was 17, but that's because I had a job.
Yeah.
And my parents helped me to procure wheels so that they wouldn't have to run me back and forth to work.
Well, this
I don't
family's
know what
kinda-
Kyle's situation is.
His family's kind of hard scrabble, okay?
They're hardworking, poor, blue-collar people?
Well, his mom works as a nurse's aide in a very affluent suburban area.
Okay.
Dad is not in the picture.
As
And
is
hasn't
quite so
been-
often is the
and
case.
hasn't been for years.
So often is the
And
case.
3 teenage kids under the roof with mom. You know, this kid needed an intervention of some sort well before this. You know, it's just, this is going to be a very, very, very sad proceeding all the way through.
Well, it's all already so horribly sad. I mean, did we really? I mean, we've seen these things before in 2016 when Trump won the election. You know, the youth of the left-wing America, you know, did some looting and burning and rioting in it, but that kind of calmed down before even Christmas time came along. America's been going through this for over 90 days, and it's time for it to stop.
Well,
they're not accomplishing anything, Bill.
Well, they're actually counter to what they were originally mad about. But you know, I mean, you look at Portland. It has been continuous in Portland, and Portland did not have a police brutality case. Portland did not have a white-on-black shooting case. They went to riot and loot and demonstrate and all of that in Portland because they knew that they could.
They're pretty sure Portland would let them.
Portland has a pretty good record, by the way, of not harming street people, taking care of them, looking after the poor and the downtrodden.
Mm-hmm.
Portland has a pretty damn advantageous record for these people.
Yep, but as it turns out, Portland also is spineless when it comes to people that are destroying their city.
That's my point. They went there because they can. You don't see them doing this in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. By the way, speaking of which, the police chief in Seattle, today's her last official day on the job. And she did a press release, press conference just a few minutes ago, basically stating, they cut my budget, they cut my ability to do anything, so that's why I'm quitting my job.
Yeah, I don't need this
And she
anymore.
lays this at the mayor of Seattle's feet. Why they right now don't have a police chief.
As they
because
said-
Seattle, like Portland, said, go ahead. Go ahead. We only have the most beautiful city on the west coast of America. Go ahead, destroy it.
As we would say, good luck to you with that.
All right, we're going to take a pause, take care of a little bit more business. In hour 2 of Exiles TV, District Attorney Hiller Moore from East Baton Rouge Parish will be with us. Stay by, please. We'll see you on the other side.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bellello's Furniture and Appliances. Your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Back, Exiles TV, going into hour 2. Bill, we must be starting to catch on because during the commercial break, I got a call from a viewer who just left me a voicemail, and he has a topic he'd like to suggest for the show. So I'm going to give him a call back after.
Do
the
we
show.
know what it might be?
No, he was, because it was voicemail. He, the best thing to do with a voicemail is don't get into it.
And do you know who this person is?
No, I don't know him from Adam. He identified himself by name, but I don't know him. He says, you don't know me, but I watched the show, got a suggestion
How
for a
do you
topic.
get your cell phone number?
I don't know. My cell phone number, I do publish it from time to time. It's also my business phone, so, it's not private.
Yeah, nothing's private anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to find out my cell phone number, you could do it. So
this is a news story, and I don't know if this news story is incomplete or if it is just meant to aggravate people that have sense. The headline says, tenants who can't pay rent due to the pandemic cannot be evicted until the year 2021. It says a federal policy change will prevent landlords from evicting thousands of Louisianians who have fallen behind on rent because of the coronavirus. A directive from the Trump administration prevents landlords from evicting renters who took a pay cut or lost their jobs because of the pandemic until 2021. To be eligible, the tenants cannot make more than $99,000 a year, and they have to prove that they'd be homeless if they were evicted. Now, I understand there are people that are in dire financial straits because businesses have shut down, they've lost their jobs. Mm-hmm. I get this. And I am hoping that this is an incomplete story. Because what I don't see is how are you, by federal edict, going to take care of these landlords? Or are they just supposed to
take... Is the federal government going to pay my rent for me?
Or loan you their rent money?
Or are they just supposed to eat 4 months of rent?
And they've already eaten 4 before that.
However, up to this point. But, I mean, there's 4 months left in the year. 3 3/4.
But, I mean, I'm hoping it's an incomplete story. But if I own 200 rental units, which is not unusual in Baton Rouge, there are some property owners here that have 1,000 rental units, and I got 800 people saying I can't pay you, and the federal government says it's okay. Is the federal government then going to make that money good if we get all the way to 2021 and they have stiffed me because you've allowed them to do that, and I have to evict them. See, I don't understand
There's something
this.
missing here.
Yeah, I mean, I understand there are people that need assistance, and I like the idea of rent assistance.
Mm-hmm.
But to just say you can't evict them for not paying you until 2021, the landlord says, the hell am I supposed to do this? How I make my living?
Yeah.
And by the way, there's ongoing expenses like property taxes that are due before 2021, like maintenance, like utilities. All of this is financed by their rent checks. I am hoping that this is an incomplete story.
Mm-hmm. There is something that I want to bring up that is troubling to me, and it's in the wake of Hurricane Laura. We didn't do our usual thing with opening up shelters that are reasonably close to the affected areas because of COVID-19 and social distancing and blah, blah, blah. So we didn't open up shelters that are within a reasonable driving distance of Lake Charles or Alexandria, areas that were devastated by Hurricane Laura. What we did was we told people, keep driving till you can find a hotel, and then the state will, help you out with federal money to pay that hotel bill. Well, the thing is, there are people that they need to be staying somewhere reasonably close to where their home is, because if you can get into the home, you can mitigate the amount of destruction if you can get into the home sooner and muck it out and take down the drywall and do whatever it is you need to do. But if you've been forced by the governor to have to live in a motel in East Orange, Texas,
well,
that's not, or even worse, like Vidor or farther away, that's not reasonable driving distance for you to be able to daily go back to your house and pay the attention to it you need in order to see to it that it's not going to be a total loss.
But they didn't have anything within 30 or 45 miles of the damaged area that was fit for human habitation.
There could have been shelters opened as far east. You could open shelters in Lafayette. We could open shelters in Baton Rouge. Now, granted, that is a 3-hour drive.
Well,
but I still think
they get hotel rooms in Lafayette or Baton Rouge.
When we had a Category 4 hurricane, we should have said, you know what? Social distancing be damned, we're opening shelters. But we're clinging to, and especially when we found out that that COVID has not been as devastating as people would like it to think. That as many people might have died of regular flu, we're finding out that the numbers have been padded and jacked up and everything, and it's not everything that it was represented to us. These people are going to have a tough row to hoe because they can't be anywhere near where their home or their business is.
Well, they were going to have the mega shelter in Alexandria, which was also an equipment staging area.
Alexandria got hit.
Alexandria got hit. That would have been closer. But I mean, if they go to shelter in Lafayette or shelter in Baton Rouge, big shelter, it's the same as being in a hotel room in Lafayette or Baton Rouge. So that really doesn't matter. That argument isn't relevant.
Well, I'm thinking you need to triage disasters or emergencies, and in this case, the fear of getting sick could have taken a back seat to the fear of having a roof come down on your head.
But did you hear yesterday? And this is a shame because this is entirely preventable. But yesterday they had 2 people in Lake Charles that died mucking out their houses from heat exhaustion.
Yeah. We got to take these precautions. We all know this.
Well, I mean, they obviously didn't realize it until it was too late and it had gotten away from them.
Well, you know and I know that when you're working in the heat with no air conditioning, you've got to take breaks. You've got to take breaks. You've got to hydrate. You've got to work at a pace where you can't put in 8 hours. It'll kill you.
You also have the people saying, this is my house. I want to get this drywall out now because it's going to get worse. I got to stay. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into this that, you are basically in the jaws of the beast right now. There's very little electricity in Lake Charles. There's very little place where you can go into the air conditioning and take a break and get cool. I mean, I want people to remember this like they remembered Katrina, because this is very, very bad in that area. The devastation, The power grid, very bad.
What I worry about is that it won't be remembered like Katrina because it's Lake Charles.
Well, and also no floating bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, the
No
video...
people on rooftops
Yeah,
holding signs.
The video isn't as dramatic.
All right, we're going to take another commercial break, take care of some business. Our guest this hour, we're going to talk some crime and punishment. The East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney Hiller Moore will be our guest on Exiles TV. On Exiles TV.
Hang on.
On Exiles TV.
We tossed to the break, and it doesn't look like a break is happening.
There we go.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
To Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us on this Thursday morning. Joining us is District Attorney Hiller Moore from the 19th JDC here in the Baton Rouge area. And we like to kind of get caught up on what is happening in crime and punishment and things like that, not just locally, but just kind of an overview of what's happening all over our state and all over our nation. Hiller, good to have you with us.
Glad to be back again.
Domestic violence is jumping, isn't it?
Yeah.
Due to COVID or not being able to get away or report during COVID?
I think a little bit of it all. You know, as you know, we talked last time in March when we had the meeting with the mayor, the sheriff, the chief, and some of the judges. We kind of warned everybody that we saw this after the flood in 2016, that people were then kept in their homes and not able to get out, and people maybe see bruises and things on them, get to work. And we expected that would happen again. And sure enough, it has, unfortunately, maybe to a bigger degree than even after the flood. So this year, there's a really unusually high number. We're at 15 total domestic violence, or also including intimate partner violence deaths
Oh my
That's
God.
a lot.
That is a lot.
Compared to 2 last year, and compared to 14 following the floods. And in 14, we had not only 14 homicides, but also had 3 or 4 suicides that went with the homicide. And I think this year we saw at least one of those. So I believe that a lot of the pressure that we see and feel is contributing to that. And August this month actually was our highest number of domestic violence calls and arrests, which we surpassed another month of July, I believe, by 1 or 2. But it's still there, still active, and we're concerned about it.
Are we, I hate to use this term because it's been just overused, are we a hot spot, or is this part of a national trend? Lafayette and New Orleans and Atlanta and New York, are they seeing the same kind of upticks?
Yeah, we see it all around the country. You'll find some cities who don't see it. Not sure whether they're accurately capturing the data or not, because you could have a DV-related incident that's not actually a punch. It could be something else. But yeah, we're seeing this all over the country. And even read an article today about switching from domestic violence to murder and non-fatal shootings. New York City and New York in general, which has just been historically low in the last several years, have seen a 50% increase in non-fatal shootings and homicides, which is really high. So that's kind of telltale when you have a police department of 40,000. And I know they're strapped even with that number, just like our law enforcement officers are. So that's a significant number. And I think all of that goes hand in hand with another unfortunate situation that we're seeing, and that's the heroin, fentanyl, opioid overdose deaths.
Has gotten worse with COVID or better? Worse?
Again, unfortunately, I hate to report, but last year in East Baton Rouge Parish, we had 120 opioid-related deaths. Wow. This year, we're already at 140. So we will probably double.
Wow.
If we go in the same path, chances will double that. Just had a seminar yesterday where a lot of people came in and talked about this that's going on in the state. A lot of state effort right now, a lot of federal money being brought in. So Baton Rouge is really not an outlier in that. We looked at the other parishes, although we are high. Looking at the other parishes around, they're also seeing significant increases as well. So that, again, I think is related to COVID and staying at home and those types of issues that families are struggling.
Is there any data to suggest that with regard to the opioid fentanyl-related deaths that some of them are intentional and people are just deciding to overdose and take themselves out?
I think a few, but most of them are just accidental.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Especially with fentanyl. You have no idea what they're getting.
Exactly. There are now fentanyl strips, or those types of strips, and I'm told they're accurate, but truly you don't know what you're getting. It's not in a pill form. We're also seeing more of those types of drugs on a pill press when we've had seen that before. We're seeing different ways that people are dealing drugs. So normally you have your regular drug dealers that are on a street corner, open kind of air markets. Now we're seeing that when you look at the heroin opioids, you're seeing it parish-wide, and you're seeing drug dealers may not be your traditional drug dealer, but it could be a UPS driver, a mail driver that's dropping off something unknowing to them that's being shipped in by mail.
That they're being defrauded. They're being duped into delivering.
Well, they have no idea what the package is, where it comes from. And I'm talking again about pill presses and things like that they get these in. So it's a nationwide and international effort that's underway with regard to that.
See, and here I guess I just think simply, but here I thought that we had the local dope dealers, whether they were in East Baton Rouge Parish, maybe you were crossing, over into one of our neighbor parishes, and I thought that was how it was all done.
The other thing that we've really seen is that normally back in the day you would have drug dealers that dealt primarily with marijuana, cocaine. Now it seems that all the people that we are dealing, that we're catching, particularly with heroin, they're selling a little bit of everything: pills, cocaine, and heroin. And even if it's a small amount, they're still selling heroin. They're getting their hands on heroin, and that's dangerous. So it's making it easier for people to get. Those that are suffering from this addiction and illness, we're finding that more and more people, upon release from jail, they've been incarcerated for some offense, whether it's drug-related or not, but if they have an underlying addiction, they've been in jail or incarcerated for a week or two or a month. When they get out, they believe they can go back to the same dosage that they were used to. And we're finding that that's a critical part for them in their overdose and dying.
Yeah.
And the other is on our halfway houses and three-quarter houses, folks that are there in treatment or getting their hands on this and they're dying. So it's significant. We're looking at ways through a grant that we have, our innovative prosecution grant. How can we identify these people quicker and better to know who they are? How can we get information to them more quickly? And so can we set up something at the prison for those people that we can identify that are coming in that have an addiction? Can we get them information? Can we get them some drugs on the way out that would prevent their overdosing? Can you get them fentanyl strips? What can we do to stop the deaths? And when you're talking about COVID deaths, look at the number in Baton Rouge, but look at right now what we may wind up with on opioid deaths at 240 a year. That's a significant public health problem. It's not a law enforcement problem. This is a significant communal public health issue.
But it's being dealt with largely as a law enforcement issue.
Always. Everything, we all talk about defunding the police and what police do. It's mental health, it's drugs, it's homelessness, it's panhandling, it's all of that gets thrown on the police. It's, take care of it when they're really not equipped to take care of it. This is a public safety medical crisis that we're in, and we have to find a way to
And if I'm understanding you correctly, the people who are supplying don't even have to have the risk of having somebody rumbling down I-10 or I-95, because now FedEx or UPS is going to get it into the market to the people who are selling at the street level.
Surely that's not all of it. That's what we've seen in the research that we've done. It makes it harder to do when it's being delivered by someone that's unknowing.
Now, surely this is via the dark web. This is not just some web page you can go to get yourself. Yeah, I mean, you got to go to illicit sources on the web to find this stuff.
And if you were 13 or 14, 15, maybe you can navigate that. But we have been looking at the dark web, and that's really where they go to get this. It's not easy to do, but if you know what you're doing, you want it enough, you're going to find it. And that's what we have seen, that these people are navigating that deep, dark web, and they're able to get it. It's scary to us what to think the potential future may hold.
It's been, I think, maybe about 5 weeks since the last time you were on the show. The last time you were on the show, we were having shooting incidents in East Baton Rouge Parish almost nightly. Has it calmed down at all, or are we still? I
think from the latest data I've seen, the actual shots fired and or non-fatal shootings have remained consistent with potentially a little bit of an increase depending on the month. Some months this year, I think August may have been a little bit higher, but some other months early in the year were a little bit lower than last year. So we're somewhat consistent. But again, that's an issue that we need to deal with. Non-fatal shootings are the telltale sign of how good or bad your community is doing with guns and weapons and shooting. I think we're fairly consistent depending on the month.
It seems to some people like the news media only reports these shooting incidents if somebody dies. And if it's a non-fatal, they may not even bother to talk about it.
May not know about it, may not get reported unless you respond to a hospital. So that's a key part. There have been a lot of discussions about non-fatal shootings. How do you capture it? Is a non-fatal shooting one that you're shot at and your house is hit, but you're missed? Or do you actually have to touch skin for it to be non-fatal? There's Dr. Natalie Hipple in Indiana has captured this data. She believes that non-fatal shootings should be contact wound to a skin, not a door being shut up at a house. She believes, a little more consistent way to capture the data.
May I ask your opinion on the matter?
I think the research she's done is accurate. It's good. I like the way she captures it because there's no fibbing about it in any kind of way.
So a person had to actually get shot.
Correct.
Survive.
Correct, and survive in some type of way. That doesn't mean you don't capture the data of a house being shot up, because that's just an unlucky shot or lucky shot.
But it's an assault, right?
Absolutely.
Well, maybe you weren't home, and when they roll by, they put 70 rounds into your house, and you weren't home by the grace of God.
Correct.
It's still a shooting incident.
So much as one. It's like if so much as one bullet went through my wall, I'd want the police to know about it.
And so, we do capture that, but different ways of reporting. And as long as you're consistent in the way you report, we're fine.
We are going to continue our discussion with District Attorney Hiller Moore, talking about crime as national trends and also trends here in Louisiana and in East Baton Rouge Parish. A reminder, the entire broadcast will be available to you at this very channel you're watching it on now, 10 o'clock tonight in replay. It will also be up on YouTube under Pelican Sports.
Broadcasting.
Or Pelican Broadcasting.
Pelican Broadcasting,
probably
just like you see on the
within
screen.
The next couple, 3 hours. So we invite you to watch it again, tell your friends.
Also, download that app. You can go to your app store and find the Pelican Broadcasting app. That means you can watch these programs live from wherever you may be.
We will be back in just a moment. Please stick around.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us as always. We are visiting with Hiller Moore, District Attorney for the 19th JDC, and we're talking about crime and what is spiking both locally, and nationally. I mean, what is happening here is probably happening in Lafayette and in Alexandria and in New Orleans and Atlanta and New York. And we talked about domestic violence being up, and the number of domestic violence homicides we have is clearly unacceptable. But I'm seeing a lot more news reports of sexual abuse of minors, and that appears to be rising as well. Is it?
Yeah, I don't have quite as good of numbers on that, but surely that goes hand in hand, not only with sex abuse, but physical abuse of children go hand in hand with the domestic violence that we see of children. And some of the national reporters are calling it the hidden pandemic or hidden epidemic that we see in not only domestic violence, but kids. Kids are now getting back to school, sometimes in class, sometimes not. Again, the inability of teachers or others to see and talk to children with that normally make that report, and not just a parent. So that's made it more difficult to report. So I would even say that although our numbers are really higher in domestic violence and somewhat high now in child violence, that they're woefully underreported because of what's going on. And I would suggest that they're more underreported in more of a white community than they are in any other type of community. That's what we've seen nationwide as well as in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, because there's a stigma to reporting that your husband beats you if you're, in the white community and live in the right neighborhood and have a good job. And then there's a stigma if your child has been taken advantage of by another family member or an uncle. And that's a shame because that just perpetuates the abuse.
Absolutely. It just goes unseen and untaken care of. So it is a problem.
What about trafficking? Not only of underage or young men and women, but just flat out trafficking kids.
Obviously is still around, still there. Extremely difficult to catch and prove for a lot of different reasons, but we would like to see a lot more effort being involved in that. But you talk about the manpower and the money that's needed. This is a really big problem worldwide. It's a big money maker worldwide. It's here in Baton Rouge. It's hard to locate, hard to find, but hard to arrest and prosecute. Language barriers are extremely difficult, and finding anyone to cooperate, even without the language barrier, is extremely difficult. So it's not only sex trafficking, but it's also work trafficking. Workers coming in from other countries and working in maybe strip joints and massage parlors. What's going on? Hard to get undercover officer in a door for any long-term type. Generally, we find that the person that's making the money and is driving it is generally too chicken to be around and not courageous enough to stay there. He has someone else that doesn't actually speak the language to do the work.
Fall guy.
He may come by and pick up the money sometime or dropped off somewhere. So it's very, very difficult, but it's occurring right here.
Yeah, I get a strong sense that, we're not immune from that. We talked about something during the break, and I thought you made it a point of information that the public needs to be reminded of. We have a couple of high-profile cases that are unfolding now, the most recent of which was the fatal shooting of Danny Buckley, who was panhandling in the Trader Joe's parking lot. And there are people that want to see this rushed into a courtroom right away, but it can't be done. You have other people that need to get into court first.
Yeah, depending on, we have time delays that work against us, and so we have to be mindful of our time delays, but we also are mindful of several things. Who's in jail, who's waiting to be tried, who's waiting for the indictment or not, or to be presented to the grand jury. You have to remember that by law, I'm not allowed to file a bill of information charging someone with first-degree murder or second-degree murder. The law has some oversight on DAs and says you must go to a grand jury and present that evidence and let the grand jury decide. And we have certain periods of time to do that. But we have to try to look at the cases when they occurred, who's in jail, and try to get them presented to a grand jury in a timely manner. We also have to wait on reports and physical evidence and scientific evidence to be tested before you can just go forward. You don't want to rush any type of case forward before the evidence and get ahead of whatever the evidence may be, regardless of the case. So what I'm speaking of is just in general terms of any particular case. Now, there's some differences maybe in juvenile cases, but that's not the topic. But surely
it would seem to be difficult for you because you don't have the luxury of dealing as sharp. Some of these activists that want immediate action right now. And we, intelligent people understand you can't do that there's a process and a due process of law. But you don't have the luxury of saying, sit down and shut up, you don't know what you're talking about.
But maybe they just don't know. I mean, it's not
That's
everyone
what I'm
knows.
for.
Not everyone knows that, so it's difficult. But every case where someone's killed, it's important to them, and it may not make the news media like others, but there's some families it's extremely important to, and they want it rushed like anyone else wants it, and just have to really explain to them. It's a frustrating experience.
Well, I am always saddened and greatly aggravated by people that will stand there, usually in front of a camera and a microphone, and demand. You don't make demands of the criminal justice system. There is a procedure and an order that is the same for everyone. And just because this particular crime looks like it fits the national narrative that has a lot of people upset, doesn't mean that you can demand anything. Yeah. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about one case, but just in general, it's a lot of folks, whatever side you want, they want an outcome. Sure. But it's the process that we have to really kind of follow and go through the process. Because if you do something too soon, too early, too premature, there's a consequence to that. Either way, on either side that you do things. So we try not to get ahead of the evidence and try to take it as it comes and try to place it in order as much as we can. So it's tough for people to understand that, and we get it. We try to have that explanation and that conversation, but it's not heard often. Always.
The rioters, looters, burners, the activists that don't mind breaking the law to get their point across, they've given us a pass so far. I worry that Danny Buckley may invite them, and not Danny Buckley himself, but the incident may invite them into Baton Rouge to do what they've been doing elsewhere.
Again, I don't want to attribute anything to any one case because everything has been very calm and peaceful here. I want to tip my hat to all of the law enforcement agency heads, to the administration, the mayor on down. People have done things that have calmed people down.
I think the local community leaders deserve a little bit of a nod too, absolutely.
Absolutely, and I think we've done well. And we've been through this already once. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it remains the same and everyone acts calmly. And I have to compliment the people, those that have come out here to protest and make their voice heard. We've had very, very few, abnormally few arrests, and it's only those outliers. And so I have to compliment everyone on all sides of having a discussion and conversation and not going to the respective corners and poking fingers at each other. It's been welcoming when you see what's happening in our state, but then around the country. There's haven't been down this road now for, as DA, 12 years, and in the system 44. You guys know we have more middle ground, and pick a religion, pick a color, pick whatever side you want to pick. There's more middle ground than there are outside. Than if we had just shut up, listened to each other, talked, you could find a way. You can always have differences, but
this is one of the things I miss about Baton Rouge with COVID-19 is we used to get together and party together downtown and in other places, and we'd all get together and enjoy that time together.
And we looked like that middle ground because we were.
And we're not able to do that now.
Yeah,
and I look forward to that day coming again where we can all enjoy Live After 5 or something downtown.
I think now what's going on nationally and here, I think that we each ought to reach out to each other. For people that have different lifestyles that do not look like us or different skin color, let's reach out and talk and listen more. There's so many good people here in Baton Rouge that are so many smart folks that have a lot of really good ideas, and we don't want to shut someone off because of they look different or talk different, live somewhere else.
One more thing we really haven't addressed this. You've been reelected to another term without any opposition, which I think is you and Tony Clayton across the river. That's hugely significant. And nobody challenged you.
I'm really happy, obviously, so that it takes the office out of that position. It's always been a tough position to be in. When I was an investigator for O.C. Brown and Brian Bush, re-elections were tough.
Oh, yeah.
Because nothing's guaranteed. But I hope that it's because of respect for the men and women in our office, what they've done, what the office in general has done, and hopefully what I have done that made the difference,
I think
or no one wanted the job.
If I may say, it's a level head and a steady hand that you apply in doing your job, and I think that's why so many people approve of the job you've done.
I hope that's the case, and I hope to keep doing that.
Well,
and
you know, some of these other folks that have been there weren't always as accessible as you have been when there have been comments or questions, both positive or negative. You know, you do play it where it lies. You stay accessible, and I think the public appreciates that.
have to tell the truth as the cases come and make whatever information available that you can.
Hiller Moore, 19th JDC District Attorney, always a pleasure to have you on.
Glad to be here.
I know we'll see you again soon.
Sure.
A brief break, and then we're back with more on Exiles TV. Stick around.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back. It's Exiles TV with him, Bill Profita, and me, Kevin Gallagher. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it on the air because it's a social media thing. A lot of people are fans of a TV show called Yellowstone, which just wrapped up its third season on Paramount Network.
Mm-hmm.
I think when Yellowstone started airing, the channel was called Spike TV.
Yeah.
But people are, I mean, it's all over social media, my Facebook friends and everything. It's, oh, Yellowstone, Yellowstone. And they were talking about it during the season. What's going to happen? Can you believe what Rip did last night? And, oh, what's John going to do? And talking about the thing like they were real people. Marianne and I watch that channel because we're fans of Bar Rescue with John Taffer, which we've had John Taffer on our radio show. He was an awesome guest. But if you're going to watch Bar Rescue, you're going to see promos for Yellowstone. That, from the very beginning of that show, the promos make it look like absolute trash. And, it made me wonder, why would Kevin Costner want to be involved in something this trashy, this hokey, nighttime soap opera? It's like Dallas out in the woods. And, season after season goes by, promo after promo. I see hackneyed dialogue. The one thing I notice is everybody in the promos for Yellowstone, they whisper at each other. Yeah, you come get some. I intend to. Yeah, I appreciate that. I look forward to it.
You're not making it sound very attractive to me.
No, it's not the kind of show I think you would enjoy at all. Finally, a relative of mine, my niece's husband, Brad and I have a great relationship. She's like, just watch it, just watch it. So rather than try and pick it up in the middle of season 3, we went to get on the on-demand and got season 1, episode 1.
Started from the beginning.
If we're going to do this, let's do it from the beginning. We got about 15 minutes into season 1, episode 1, and said, no, sorry. And it was for the very reasons we think the promos are ridiculous. Overacting, ham-handed direction, lines of dialogue that people don't really talk to each other like that. They don't.
And the lighting, they're always in darkness from what I've seen on the promos.
Yep, and it took us a while to figure out that the character played by Kelly Riley, who's a fine British actress. Oh, yeah, don't get Brits to play people from Wyoming. Get people from Wyoming to play people from Wyoming.
Or at least Utah,
Hollywood.
Montana.
But, so you got the Brit that's doing an American accent that's questionable, and the girl seems to have, for 3 seasons, had a black eye. Now, we came to understand that the character has a scar that was from some thing that happened. And she's always got her hair down over her right eye because she has a scar. But the left eye is like permanently black. It's like, what is she, as soon as it fades, she go get socked in the eye again? I just don't understand. She's always drinking. Most of the time she's not dressed. She's wrapped in a blanket. I mean, I'm talking about most of the time. And I do not, please, someone help me understand Yellowstone. It looks like 3 seasons in, the promos is it possible for a show to be good, but just the guy tasked with making the promos is that bad that he makes it look like it sucks?
Well, you would do that one time. The way these studios work, if you put together a promo that makes the show look bad, you're out of a job.
To me, what a promo is you're trying to polish a turd to get people to watch it.
Exactly.
And is it that Yellowstone is actually that good, or is it the Yellowstone season runs during a time of the year when everyone else is in reruns? So there's nothing else to watch, and so by comparison, it's that good.
Well, I landed.
I don't get it.
I landed on the channel by accident. This is about a week and a half ago. And, of course, the channel guide comes up and it says Yellowstone. I said, I've heard a little bit about this. And I watched. I must have gotten the best 10 minutes of the entire season because it wasn't bad. It was actually fairly good. But then I moved on to where I was supposed to be because I was just kind of snooping to see if I wanted to really watch it.
Yeah, the overarching theme of the show is that Kevin Costner's character is this old school rancher out in Wyoming. And, he's got his ranch and he's a proud man and he's a proud family and blah, 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 blah. But there are corporate powers where I think it's interesting that and this show doesn't take any heat, that the bad guy is the head of the nearby Native American reservation. Mm-hmm. And he's a big businessman, a wheeler dealer, and he wants to forcefully take this guy's land, like a hostile takeover, and assume this guy's land so he can make some kind of big major development out of it. And that's been going on for 3 years now. And, it's just...
Yeah. A Western real estate show is not going to draw me in.
It's a Western real estate show.
Please, help me.
And the promo show, a lot of people pointing guns at one another, but hardly ever a shot fired. It's like, and I know that's not how guns work. Most people, when they pull them and point them, they shoot them.
Well, particularly in the West.
Yeah. Well, it's not the old West, though. It's the 21st century
still the
West.
West.
But yet everybody's still out there. They're riding on horses. Oh, they're riding the range on the horses in the old West. You know what they'd have? They'd have one of those four-wheel mini trucks that, are all-terrain vehicles.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Just Yellowstone. I'm sure if that's your sort of thing.
It's Smellowstone from the way you said it.
Maybe it's just me.
Well, maybe. But, you're usually a pretty good analyst of media. So I'm going to give you this one. I ain't going there. On your word.
I don't do the nighttime soap operas. I never did. I didn't like Dallas. I didn't like Falcon Crest. I didn't like Dynasty. It's like, come on, please. If you're going to do drama, do real drama, not this overblown, fake, hokey, and everybody sleeps with everybody on these shows.
Hey.
Yikes.
Here's a little bit of news that's kind of sad. The board of directors of the Greater Baton Rouge State Fair voted yesterday evening.
No state fair this year.
No state fair.
Greater Baton Rouge State Fair.
Yeah.
None.
Our buddy Cliff Barton.
It's outdoors.
Yeah, who is the chairman of the board.
It's outdoors, and you can't have it?
He said, we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to do social distancing on the Midway with people in lines, rides going, and limited space.
The same way they do social distancing in the supermarket.
Yeah, I mean...
Get some lime and make hashtags, hash marks on the ground.
They were
Stay this far
supposed to
apart.
open on the 22nd of October. That's pretty far down the road.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that you're not doing it.
The only other time that they've ever canceled in 55 years was after Katrina.
Yeah.
Because FEMA was using the fairgrounds
as a staging
area. That's
so no Greater Baton Rouge State Fair. That means Scotty Drake's band won't be performing on stage at the State Fair.
Oh, man.
Well, I feel bad for them because every time they get booked at the State Fair, Studio 4 is the name of Scotty Drake. The band that features our friend Scotty Drake and Mike Benson, two former broadcasting cohorts. And but every time they play their gig at the State Fair, it's like rain and hail Columbia during their gig. So, I don't know.
Even God.
Stop it.
Just saying.
Stop it.
God.
I'm very sorry to hear that they pulled the plug on the Greater Baton Rouge. How many other things? Many other things? Governor, loosen it up.
And
I think his press conference is still going on right now.
I don't think that this. I think the board feels their own trepidation on this and is deciding to stand down. Now, again, let's not forget that one of the big driving forces passed away last year, J.H. Martin.
Yes.
And J.H. was tenacious, and he was a bulldog. And
Clint's done a good job.
Clint's done a good job. But nobody is telling them they can't open. They're saying, we're not so sure we know how to do it safely. And,
we're all pretty well trained by now to stay 6 feet apart when we're waiting in line.
Yeah. And October 22nd is still a pretty good long way away.
If the governor were to say, you know what, to hell with phase 3, the curve is flattened, go about your normal lives, which I think that happening before Election Day is highly unlikely with this governor. But if he were to do that, could they reverse themselves and still throw their fair? Well, like you said, it's still plenty of weeks away.
Again, the State Fair of Louisiana, which happens in Shreveport, is scheduled for 1 week after Greater Baton Rouge State Fair is scheduled, and they have not decided. They are holding a decision as to whether I'm going to bet you that they're going to say we can proceed. This raises a lot of money for good causes here in our area. Mm-hmm. It is a privately funded foundation that puts it on.
It's not the official state fair. That happens in Shreveport.
Yeah, but and so they can decide whatever they want to decide. I think it's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of these how I've learned to hate this term. Out of an abundance of caution.
I'm sorry, every time I hear out of an abundance of caution, I hear, this is what I actually hear them say. Out of an abundance of fear and not knowing how to handle the situation.
And
that's what an abundance of caution
isn't that what caution really means?
Yeah, we're scared.
The thing is, figure it out.
We don't want this to flash back on us in any way, shape, or form.
Well, you can figure this out, and if it is not their desire to figure it out, okay. I get that, but I think it's kind of a shame.
John Bell, let my people go.
Just one more event that raised money for nonprofits and charities that God knows they're suffering enough right now.
Something for families to do. Where am I going to get my funnel cakes this year? Man, where am I going to get my deep fried Snickers bar?
Where am I going to get to walk around and feel both mentally and emotionally and physically superior to just about everyone else?
I used to love going to the state fair just because of the food, man. Those trailers, they would be cranking
Sausage
out
on a stick.
Yeah, foot-long hot dogs, man, with chili cheese and onions.
See, they got
hamburgers. They make great hamburgers at the
Thai
state fair.
food now. Come on. You shouldn't have Thai food at a state fair in Louisiana.
Don't you like Thai food?
I don't like anything about Thailand, including their food.
You're wearing a tie.
Different kind. It's an H in there.
I know.
As I have said before, I will not support a country whose major industry is sex tourism and major export is child porn. I just will not do that. And eating should not be painful. So your Thai food gets lumped into all of that.
You don't like any spicy food at all?
I love spicy food. I don't like painfully spicy food. They sit there, they're little devious people, and they make it extra hot.
Hell, I've been to some
just to
Italian
cause
restaurants
pain.
where I've been to some Italian restaurants where the red pepper alone would kill you.
Listen, there was a time when Peter Sclafani, who's a great chef, and I love his food.
He may be one of the best.
At Ruffino's, used to get heavy with that elephant garlic, and it wouldn't hit you while you were sitting there.
No.
It'd sneak up on you about 2 hours later and just really kick you. That's really kick you. But anyway, the greater
So
Baton
no high
Rouge-
school football, or are we? Have we had a pronunciation from LHSAA yet?
They haven't hammered out what they're going to do yet. They're still thinking it over.
All wondering, will the governor release us? Let my people go.
Well, again-
John Bell. Pharaoh John Bell.
Again, that is a local decision, as long as you follow some acceptable guidelines. It has nothing to do with the guidance that comes from the White House through the governor. It's just a matter of, we have bred analysis leads to paralysis. And that, way before COVID, we did that. You know, I'm going to repaint this fence. Is that going to offend somebody?
Yep.
You know, analysis leads to paralysis. Just, look, jump out and pull the chute and hope that it opens. That's pretty much all you can do.
I want my funnel cakes. That's our show for today. We hope you'll catch one of the weekend repeats and join us for the podcast tomorrow on Facebook Live.
Ta-ta.
God bless.